What's that saying? Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Well, call me insane, because I'm going to go and watch Salem's Lot 2024 again. Only this time, I'm paying money to see it in a cinema. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Dave Musson, at Dave Musson on Instagram. This is a place where I talk to you about Stephen King. Check the links for my newsletter, my collection of short stories, Once More Around the Sun, my range of Stephen King band shirts, and all of that stuff. And maybe click around my channel, find my original spoiler-free review of the 2024 Salem's Lot. But as you know from the intro, I've decided to go and see it again, mainly because I feel a sense of duty out of the fact that this movie is getting a theatrical release here in the UK. And I feel I have to, as a King, I hesitate to say super fan, but I guess I might be. As someone who is very invested in Stephen King, I feel a duty to support this movie in theatres. So I'm going to go and see it tonight. I'm curious to see if the experience of seeing it on the big screen hits any different. I already know that I don't necessarily like the movie, so I can maybe pay attention to it for a few different things. I don't know. Like I said, I feel like I've got to go. It's in cinemas. I want to see it on the big screen. And I thought it might be nice to vlog the experience. So I'm off to the cinema in a couple of hours. Am I insane? Yes, probably. But let's do it, shall we? Let's go and see Salem's Lot again. It's almost a return to Salem's Lot. Only not, because that's very different. Okay, I've just arrived at the cinema. I have no idea how many other people are going to be suffering this with me. But sod it. Let's go and watch some vampires, shall we?
Flooding in towns downstream. This year we're expecting to run.
So back from the cinema watching Salem's Lot. I mean, obviously not much has changed from the last time I watched it, other than it was on a big screen and the sound benefited hugely from being on the screen that big and having a proper sound system. Other than that, unfortunately, no light bulb moment. There were 8 other people in the cinema, which was a bit depressing. One of them greeted the ending by doing a massive burp, which was lovely. But yeah, I mean, in terms of watching it again, there were a few things I noticed that I don't think I covered in my last review. So I actually really like the opening credits. The font choice is great and the style of them, but they do an awful lot of heavy lifting in terms of storytelling and backstory. And the opening credits, they move. And if you haven't read the book, most of that must just go straight over you. But yeah, so much of the sort of the table setting is done with those credits, which is a strange choice. Again, probably because of all the editing done. And a couple of things I also noticed this time round. One of the shops in Salem's Lot was called Merrill's Photos, which I thought was a nice little nod to a King character. And there were a couple of details taken from the book that were noticeable that I meant to mention in my last review and completely forgot. Basically, around the scene of Mike Ryerson. So there's the bit where the sort of storm cover for the window is thrown off, and that is a detail in the book. And then Mike's arm flopping onto the floor, again, is another pretty cool detail from the book that they do capture very well in this film. I'm probably going to chew on it a little bit more and offer some further thoughts and sleep. Watching it again has absolutely made me certain that I want to see the 3-hour cut, because the pacing wasn't quite as jarring this time because I knew what was happening, but I was actually paying attention to sort of the minor shots, and you can see there's some competence in the filmmaking and some thought and some artistic merit in some of the filmmaking, but it's been ruined by the editing. So what I'm thinking about in particular is like at different points in the town, you see these little characters. So you see a guy who runs an electronics shop, and at the start he is busy, he is working. And then towards the end you see his shop and it's just empty and all the stuff is still on. And clearly that was supposed to be like a trickle through of slowly showing the town just falling apart. It got all cut in the edit. So little bits like that made me feel like actually the 3-hour experience would be really good. But anyway, shame. But I will come back to you shortly with some better articulated thoughts and wrap up this coverage of Salem. Okay, so the morning after. Following on from what I deposited onto camera last night, another little detail that I forgot to mention was, in the scene with Mike Ryerson, there is a single drop of blood on the bedsheet, which made me think of Rose Madder, which, if that was intentional, I thought was a nice touch. But thinking some other things that I guess didn't work for me. I can't remember if I said this last night, but like we end up in the movie, Susan Norton's mum has a key role to play with Straker and Barlow. And the first time I watched it was like, where did that come from? And then watching it again yesterday, there was like a 30-second scene where she is dancing in the shop with Straker. And again, it shows how the harsh editing job has just wrecked this film, because that comes out of nowhere, but is crucial to the character arc of the story, to the arc of that character, sorry. So just this editing, like, what's going on with it? It's just so bad. I also pinpointed the exact moment in the film where it starts going downhill. And ironically, it's the first time we hear the word vampire. So when Matt Burke says vampire, from that point onwards, yeah. Also, the editing stuff, I know I said this before, but the Houdini thing, just, there's no payoff there. So the Houdini thing comes back right at the end. And it has this, it's supposed to be quite a profound ending, I think. Again, because so much of it has clearly been cut, just doesn't work. Like, that Houdini stuff is really interesting, and none of the other adaptations lent into that. So for them to cut so much of it, it's just real pain. I thought the final confrontation with Barlow was a huge anticlimax. Absolutely huge anticlimax. Just like blink and you miss it kind of. And on Barlow, you've probably seen what he looks like by now. To me, he looks like they got Lord Voldemort from Witch. Really terrible. Like, just go with the book. Make it a charming human. You don't have to make it this unscary looking weird thing. Some other things, I don't like to sort of knock on stuff like this, but Mackenzie Lee's performance as Susan Norton was not good. Lewis Pullman was also not good as Ben. And the two of them as leads, supposed leads, was just, there's no presence there at all. That's a huge problem as well. Even with the harsh editing, if those two had been firing on all cylinders and really singing, then I think it would have carried it much more. But not either of them did it. The house still looked terrific. The Musson house looked excellent, and it's even more frustrating that, again, it barely even features. Straker, I'm just confused by, like, what is his story meant? But a couple of people I didn't shout out in my original review that I do want to shout out. So Bill Camp as Matt Burke was excellent. And John Benjamin Hickey as Callahan. I don't think I appreciated how good he was on first watch. But he is great. And again, he's been done a massive disservice. We definitely needed more Callahan, because he took that role with a, I don't know, There was a subtlety about his performance. There was a very lived-in feel about his performance, very grounded performance as well. And I just really appreciated what he brought to the table. And it's a shame that we didn't get more of him. I think that's probably everything that I took from the second sitting. Like, there's no getting away from it. It's a bad adaptation. The first half an hour or so is kind of interesting and kind of fun. But like I said, once we hear the word vampire, it just goes down really quickly from there. Goes downhill. And like the Marjorie Glick scene is good. The taking of Ralphie Glick's scene is excellent as well. I don't think I go across how much I liked that in my first review, but they're all shot in silhouette, really effective. But so much of it was just bland. And like I said, after I got back from the cinema, I absolutely, definitely want to see the 3-hour cut. I feel like I need to see the 3-hour cut to understand what the thought process was here. And I can't understand why, for a film going straight to streamers, they didn't just do that. That being said, I am very disappointed for all of my friends who don't get a theatrical release, because it was still fun watching it on the big screen, and getting to go to the cinema to see a new Stephen King thing is always good as well. So I feel sad for you that studio executives have deprived you of that, and I feel very fortunate for a change to be in the UK and to get that. But I think we can close the book on Salem's Lot 2024 now. They blew it. But if the 3-hour cut ever gets released, I will be there and I will watch it. Thank you for coming back and watching another video of me talking about this movie. Or the usual, subscribe if you like this kind of thing. Check out the book club I've started doing recently. Check out my own collection of short stories, Once More Around the Sand, Phantom Newsletter, all those things. But most of all, take care. And maybe go and watch a good movie. I'll see you very soon.